Supposedly, Tom York told everybody to make it sound like a traffic jam.
I used
So
the
those
word,
horns were like car horns,
well, I
and
used the word orgasmic because it was, especially actually on the reaction I did. Sorry. But, like everything was just all crashing in, especially with the horns, right? Because you got the one sax that came in like at first, it's kind of like innocently. It just kind of comes in the room and it's like, yeah, okay, brum, 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 innocent. All right. Then all of a sudden another sax, whatever, is like,
yeah, and then they
you know,
start screeching and so
and
on.
then I think there's another one came in, whatever, or those
Yeah.
other two that started going crazy together, and then there's like, and then the drums are going, and the bass player, and it's just everything is going
And
crazy. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Into the Music. My name is Greg. That guy is Chris. Chris, what do you got for me tonight?
Okay, I got one of our faves. I got Radiohead with
Okay.
the national anthem.
Okay. The national anthem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not telling you which country it's from. It's the national anthem of.
So it's the weirdest thing. Yeah. Okay.
What, you know it?
Well, no, right? Because you would think that I would actually remember a song that was called the national anthem. But it just gives me pause, gives me reason to hesitate. So I couldn't tell you what I even think the song even sounds like. But
yeah. Well,
but there's something that is that with the Radiohead. Yeah, it makes me a little nervous, but especially because I suck at song titles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let me go check it out.
All right.
And I'll come back and tell you.
Okay.
I know the song. I know the song. All right. The national anthem. That's the name of the song. Like, I know this song. Is it from Kid A? Anyway. Okay. Well, now that everyone knows that I know the song, and it's a damn good song. It's one that I haven't heard in a long time. I mean, that's another thing too. I'm not good with song titles because, I mean, I'll go like a long time without. There's no good excuse. I surely know the titles of songs. Anyway, so let me pull this back. All right, the national anthem by Radiohead. All right, let's go. The bass, right? That is the bass, right? I mean, it could be Johnny's guitar. He's just doing something crazy with the sound, but all right. I don't want to stop it, but it's just that groove.
I'm bringing back that part where it just becomes orgasmic. There's no other way to describe it. Um, it you get that, you get the horns coming in. I guess it was a sax, and then this other sax that just went crazy, and then it seemed then both saxes, or I don't know, everything just then there was like another sax, but then it just went like sax crazy. It just again orgasmic. It's incredible. Um, and Selway is just going crazy on the drums and hitting the cymbals. It's just so good. All right, I'll try to ride this the rest of the way out. That was like a little at the very, very end, like a little snippet of the national anthem. National anthem for here in the States, the United States national anthem. The anthem for I don't know. Anyway, couldn't really tell, but and then right before that, all the instruments. It was almost as though they just had their last gasp after just going crazy for what, 5, close to 6 minutes. They were like, "We've had enough," and they almost like just came 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 to their collective sort of death. It was like, everything was like letting out air.
Well,
Yeah.
knew
I
it.
knew I knew it. Like, yeah, as soon as boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. Holy shit. I mean,
All right, we're talking about it anyway. So
it's a great song. But this is a problem. It's a problem, that
It's gonna happen. Well, that's,
that
if
how
you
do
don't
I
remember,
not
you don't know.
know? I even said Kid A on the reaction. I was like, I think it's off Kid A. So,
Yeah,
um, so am I right? Is it on Kid A?
yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, but that one had like all that computerized kind of technology, techno sort of, where when they started going into that sort of electronic kind of voice thing with a lot of the songs.
Oh yeah, I forgot the name of that. Some kind of ring thing. Yeah,
Well,
that
I
they
mean, a lot
mentioned.
of the songs I think on that one, I think a lot of songs on that album was kind of like of that.
Yeah, but this
This
one
one was, this one was not. This one was kind of
Yeah,
cut from a
I
different
would
cloth.
have
Yeah,
said, there's really
yeah.
not that much. It doesn't really sound like it's just a studio experiment.
Here's the thing. So I've shied away from that album because a lot of it I just don't like.
Mhm.
This one I was reminded, and now you just confirmed it is from Kid A. This one I'm reminded of, like, how good this song is. I just haven't heard it in a long time. But as
Mhm.
soon as the first bass notes, I was like,
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
I know it. But thank God I love it.
Do
Like
you
I
remember?
really.
Do
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
remember? We did a reaction recently where you were describing it. And you were saying how they use this ostinato technique, which is a
Yeah, that was
repetition
on.
of the same motif.
That's the one that we
And
dropped today for XX. Yep.
yeah, and this one I was looking on Genius Lyrics, and it mentioned that it's done. It used that word.
Of
I
course.
just
Yeah.
learned the word from you the other day, so that's that's pretty cool. So yeah, that goes throughout the whole song with the bass like that. And the horn section was he
Bef-
wrote Tom York wrote that bass line when he was 16
yeah, but
apparently.
let's just stay in the bass line. That was so good.
Yeah.
That was so good. I mean,
Yeah, you could really work a lot of things around it as they did, especially when the horns came in and
that was the engine. So that
just
was
crazy.
that was the engine that just roared, that just took the song, just roared it right through. It was the power force.
Yeah, it
Full
kept it
song.
moving forward.
Kept it
Absolutely.
moving,
Yeah.
and you never got bored with it. Well, because
True.
especially because they put so much around it, this, that around, so everything was
Right.
tasty, everything was so good, everything like was just on its own, but blended together, if that makes sense. Everything was just, just working. And all this craziness at times with the horns. We'll get into
Mhm.
that more, but and all the while steady. Yeah, and I won't say slow but steady, but like fast but steady, or kind of like just forceful and steady was that bass line. It just kept going. So good. And then Phil Selway on the drums, he's just, when he starts hitting those cymbals, he's crashing the
Mhm.
cymbals, whatever. It's so, and the whole song is going, and like I said, with the horns.
Yeah, and
Um,
then it gets that chaotic sound with
I actually use the word
that's
orgasmic.
what supposedly Tom York told everybody to make it sound like a traffic jam.
I use
So
the
those
word,
horns were like car horns,
well, I
and
used the word orgasmic because it was, especially actually on the reaction I did. Sorry. But, like everything was just all crashing in, especially with the horns, right? Because you got the one sax that came in like at first, it's kind of like innocently. It just kind of comes in the room and it's like, yeah, okay, brum, 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 innocent. All right. Then all of a sudden another sax, whatever, is like,
yeah, and then they start screeching and so
and
on.
then I think there's another one came in, or whatever, or
Yeah,
those other two that started going crazy together, and then there's like, and then the drums are going, and the bass player, and it's just everything is going
and
crazy.
apparently that was inspired by the horn stuff was inspired by a Charlie Mingus song. I don't know the name of it. So apparently these guys listen to a lot of different kinds of music. And they're big on
Maybe
the orchestral stuff, and
right.
now that's just with the jazz.
It was
That
it was
I
like
about.
that part, those couple of parts there. I was like looking at a Jason Pollock painting, right? Or no,
Jackson Pollock.
Jackson Pollock, Jason. Yeah, how he was just, you look at it because he was the one who just like threw the paint. I know there was technique, but like, and then the finished product was just all these,
Mhm.
all these patterns or whatever, just kind of
You
everything was
like
all
that
kind of all over
stuff?
the place. It's interesting to look at,
You like the Jackson
and
Pollock stuff?
some of it, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
You ever
And
you ever see it in like
there's a
Museum
lot
of
going
Modern
on.
Art?
Say it again.
You been to the Museum of Modern Art?
Yes.
So you probably stood in front of one of those, right? The
I
actual
yeah, I
man.
probably
And
have. It's been a long
yeah,
time. I think I was a kid. Yeah,
but when well, yeah, you got to go as an adult now, man.
I know.
Um, get a whole different impression of it, but
Yeah.
like because you're kind of like it's so big that they're usually so big that you're kind of enveloped by it in a sense, and then you can really get it lost in it. It's cool. But anyway, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, because
That's
look,
an excellent comparison
there's
to
so much going
that
on.
part in this song.
There's
Yeah,
just so much going on, right?
yeah,
And yet it's also beauty, and you can find
yeah,
beauty in his
absolutely.
painting. So as this,
It's like
it's yeah,
don't they go into that in How to Disappear Completely, where they go into a chaotic thing and then come out of it. They didn't
yeah.
come out of this one really, except for it ended with that one long, like kind of long
Well,
note.
then it ended because I actually wrote it down, right? So then it ended as though they used every instrument, those poor instruments. They used them until their last breath that they could gasp out, the
Yeah,
saxophone and the bass and everything, especially like the horns.
kind of
That when
like
they were done, it actually sounded like the horns were just basically crying out or putting out their last gasp, and then went, it just was like kind of almost like a sort of a death kind of sound where it's just like,
I'm picturing like like in the old cartoons where they'd anthropomorphize some musical instrument or something, so they'd have eyes and legs and arms. So there I'm picturing all these cartoon horns just like dropping like flies.
well, only because you went down there. What I actually had, I was never going to go there, but
Well,
because they're bagpipes. But there's the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's in Scotland, Bugs Bunny, and
I
then
didn't know that.
he's
I'm not
playing the
familiar with that.
bagpipes, and then the Scottish guy is with the big sideburns is so pissed, whatever. He grabs, he slams, and he throws down the bagpipes, and then as he's jumping on him, you hear like the bag, just like the bagpipes are making this crazy sound,
You know
and it sounded
something?
like that.
You know something though? That sound you just made of the bagpipes dying.
That's Jerry Lewis.
That sounds better than the living bagpipes.
Oh,
Like
I love it.
finally, someone shut those things up.
Dude, you're Irish,
I
man.
know I'm gonna get flack for
Dude,
this.
you're Irish, man. You should love the bagpipes. I know, seriously. I'm Irish too. So there, and I'm Irish too. Here we go again. Irish spring soap, but I can't get away from it. All right. We dropped it in one of our latest videos, but anyway, so I'm gonna come back and pull it back.
You always say that after you've already like just you know. Like, all right, now I'm gonna pull it back. It's like it's kind of late for that,
It's kind of late, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, then let's just go home. See you.
No, don't pull it back. But do it like in the song. They didn't pull back at the end.
Yeah, yeah. What else did I write? Oh,
What? This video hasn't gone on long enough?
in the beginning part of the song, it was like a flying saucer kind of sound, like the way they had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, it was
Well,
almost
at
as
least
though
the way they sounded in the 50s movies.
because
You
what
know
I wrote,
something? In movies, the sound of flying saucers hasn't changed since the 50s.
right, and it's so funny you just said that because I wrote down, I just don't remember the TV show, and I know it's at the Twilight Zone, but there was a show, a black and white show back in the 50s or something like that. That was like sci-fi kind of thing where I remember saying, "Don't adjust your television sets."
I think it was Outer Limits.
Outer Limits, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote that down because
Like
it made me think about that when I
poor
listened
man's
to that.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, right. It was. Yeah.
You know why I'm thinking that you know why the sound of flying saucers hasn't changed in movies and TV is because that's the actual sound. People have recreated it from when they're abducted and stuff. They're like, here's how this. They just put them in a room of like all the musical instruments and electronic stuff, and they're like they mess around and like this is what it sounded like, and then they get a consensus from all these abductees, right?
Yeah.
And they confirm it.
And their spaceships are really like big frisbees with like a little sort of bubble on the top of it.
Yeah, and in the really bad movies, they go like this while they're hanging in space, like Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Right.
You see it on it's on Strange.
And you just actually see it.
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, you
We
now.
should review Ed Wood movies.
No, you just went down there.
I'm
Now,
sorry,
why don't
going
you
all
bring it
over the
back?
place.
Why don't you bring it back?
Dude, I was abducted by aliens the other day. I don't know what they did to me.
Yeah.
They planted some chip in me, and now I'm like, I'm out of control here.
Should have kept you. But anyway.
You know, you just sounded, that was totally distorted what you said, how it came out on speakers. You sound like the guy on the subway announcing the stops, you know? Like, I don't know. I think he said Jamaica, but I'm not sure. He could have said any town. I don't know.
All right.
That's why you have to count the stops, because you don't want to understand what the hell.
All right, Radiohead fan song. Radiohead fans song. I
Just
love the
take that
song.
sentence and throw the
song-
words up in it.
The song was great. So yeah, so glad that I was an idiot and didn't remember it, so I could hear it again.
It's okay,
Fantastic.
man.
Fantastic.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Especially this song. It's not like you'd know it was called the national anthem from the words.
Well, no. Oh, and then at the very end, there's like a little sound that sounded like a traditional band kind of thing, like, you know, with the orchestra.
Oh, it did. It did.
And like,
yeah.
was that?
And then it just faded away in a weird way.
Was that the national anthem in the United States? The national anthem, or was that like an anthem from another country? Or
it's an anthem from outer space.
Yeah. All right.
Dude, we're on it. You know, sticking with the topic.
I know. All right.
I'm sticking with the irrelevant topic that I introduced.
Okay, so we're gonna unstick it right now, and we're gonna say to everyone, really glad you watched his reaction. He just got me totally discombobulated here. Chris, have a good night. All right. Watch out for those aliens. Yeah. And do not adjust your television sets, your screens. And we'll see you on the next episode of Into the Music.